So I remember those words echoing that we're at a time of peace as I sat in the mess decks and watched the television where our president declared war. And I remember thinking, oh, well, and
Yeah.
it's I was already we were already in Desert Storm, and it's almost like instantly when he said that speech, you heard all the guns going off, and I came to reality of what was actually happening in my life, and I'm sure some other veterans can agree if you've experienced war and most of your life you've probably been kind of myself. I'm anti-war. I believe we can all just get along and settle things peaceably. And I remember saying while we were out there, I remember commenting to one of my comrades that um, why don't Bush and Saddam just get in the boxing ring and settle the thing between them. I don't even know why I'm out here. Um, and I'm supposed to, be violently averse to this person based on some issues that these two leaders have, and I just basically didn't understand it, and it created a mindset in me that said, I was born alone, so I'm gonna die alone, and having most of my childhood experience of growing up alone, I was cool with that, but I didn't realize that that was a very bad mindset, and it caused me to close up, which I find when I was working in the VSO, I noticed a lot of other veterans were the same way, and this causes a lot of us to miss out on a lot of the opportunities and programs and things even like this that are out there because we're so closed in our own world that we think, I came in here by myself, I guess I'm leaving out by myself, I might as well get used to it. And that mindset keeps us from knowing what opportunities are out there. When I was discharged, as I remember it, I think it was they gave me my discharge papers, told me this is your DD 214, take care of it, don't lose it, you're gonna need it, and that was pretty much it. They didn't tell me about, hey, there's some programs here that you can try. There's this, there's help, there's that, and so I didn't notice then, but the war and another situation that I wrote about, and I actually wrote a book as well. I wrote about the experience that also happened through a ministry that I was going through at the time that I was in the service as well. So these things kind of created the soup that created my PTSD, my mental issues, depression, etc. And it started to get bad. And because I still had the mentality of I came in alone, I'm going to die alone, I just basically kept all that in to myself. And that's one of the worst things you can do with this type of condition. If you have it, you have to get amongst people. My word is connect. You need to be connecting with resources like we've had here. And Zach, I hope there's going to be like, because I wasn't able to get on my device and get all the contact information, but a lot of those guys I love to, guys and gals, I love to connect with because uh, we're all on the same page on a lot of things that was said. But we have to realize, you know, there's a scripture that says we know in part because we see in part now. There's so much we don't see. Science says the human eye is only seeing 1% of what's all going on in this world that we're in right now, in this reality. So that being the case, if we know in part and we see in part, the part that we're missing most is that each person has a unique part that they see and they are bringing to the world. And if we're not making those connections, we'll miss that part. So much information and so many resources and so many things have come out of just this here from me listening in the background that I see that there's so many parts that people bring to the table that if we can open up and all these issues that we see we have in our world is and to answer the question that I think is coming in the end, the magic wand that would answer a lot of these issues, in my opinion, it would be starting to see these connections and actually realize that we're all connected on so many deeper levels, the micro, the macro, from the micro to the macro. So from the microscopic atomic level inside of you, it mirrors the cosmos macro that you're living in. And being able to see that and realize that we're all connected. There's no them against us. There's no black versus white. There's not
Yeah.
this thing. Those are the things that people that are too ignorant to open up their eyes and start to see a lot of the stuff that's unseen. I mentioned 99% of what we're looking at we don't even see. So we focus on these little tiny small 1% of things that we think we know or see, and that's where we lose it. I remember someone telling me there's actually only like 5 or 6 bad people in the whole wide world. Now they move around a lot, but there's only 5 or 6. But
I've run
it,
into those five or
that
six people a
mentality
couple
has,
times.
yeah, we all have ran into a few of them. They move around a lot, like I said.
Yeah.
But if we can get around them and their tiny view of what's going on and realize the greater, bigger picture of everything being connected from not just our human connection, but our connecting to the plant, our connection to the plants, the animal life, all of these things, we can get past those fears because I think the fear is one of the biggest things that's causing us to see things in a certain way. And like I mentioned, I did write a book about it. It's called The Connection. I do advise people to check that out. My website I wasn't able to put on here. Like I said, I
Actually,
am
you know what?
trying.
I've got your link tree. I've got your link tree up here. Let me ask you, ladies, a real quick question. And Debbie, we'll start with you. Uh, Tucky made mention that, it doesn't matter black, white, whatever. Here's the thing that I always tell people, okay? You know what? There can be a white guy standing next to me that's 10 foot, sorry, 10 foot. If he's 10 foot, I'm running like hell. I'm not standing next to that guy. That can be 5 foot, 10 and 3/4. Uh, be a pretty hefty guy who's graying and balding a little bit. We're still going to be different. He can look identical to me, but we're still going to be different. Every single one of us is different, male, female, whatever. But there's none of us that's any less the same because we're all human. We're all human. We should take care of each other. And it doesn't matter where we come from. It doesn't matter who we are, what we are. We're all the same. There's not a single one of us that gets cut and bleeds green. Okay. There might be some green stuff that comes out every once in a while, but I've drank some funky stuff in my life. But but the truth is, all of us are the same. Debbie, do you agree with that statement? How do you feel about that?
Well, yeah. I I get very frustrated when I feel like these politicians are trying to get us to act, hostile to each other, like we're different.
Yeah.
Because we're not. I mean, when you say you don't see the color of someone's skin, I think you do notice if what ethnic background they're from, but that doesn't mean that it's a derogatory thing. It doesn't mean that you're looking down on them. It's just something that you're probably going to notice, because everybody is not the same, like you said. But that doesn't mean that their value as a human being is less than mine, because it's not.
See, I think it's a hell of a lot less the color of their skin and more the color of their soul. Mm-hmm. Ladies, you guys at dogs and tags, have there been different people who come into you that look identical, that had different needs?
Oh, absolutely. I'm a dog trainer, and I'm all about dogs. So I'm going to put this in the dog perspective. A dog is a dog is a dog, but every breed is absolutely different. Every breed has different traits. Different ingrained knowledge, such as you have herding dogs, you have scent detection dogs, you have all these dogs, but at the end of the day, guess what it is? It's a dog.
Yep.
At the end of the day, every color, every race, every size, shape, anything, guess what? At the end of the day, it's a human, and every human should be treated as a human.
Right.
I absolutely agree, except for one thing that I've got to argue. Every Chihuahua is kind of a jerk.
Hey, that's just another one of those ingrained traits, right? Still a dog.
I think it's funny. I really do. I think it's funny that everybody gives this bad name to pit bulls. It's like, have you ever met a Chihuahua that's nice? I mean, they just...
I think there's some Chihuahua owners out there that would disagree with you.
Nice. Yeah, I had one that was nice. It did a lot of shaking, but it wasn't an aggressive type dog. It was pretty cool.
Actually, you know what? My son has, my son's girlfriend has this little Chihuahua. Well, I'm not going to say little Chihuahua. It's a tiny dog, but the dog is about as wide around as it is long. So, I mean, the dog's dramatically overweight, but is the cutest, funniest dog, and thinks it's bigger than every other dog around.